mentoring series, so we want to kind of kick this off. So what we have today, we want to just continue to build community among faculty, AU faculty around mentoring, and just to share some insights to help you think about mentoring approaches in your teaching, your research, and your service. So let's all get up.
All right, we're going to do it.
Let's go.
We're going to do it. We're going to do it.
So this game is called Mentoring Spectrum. Okay, and so I should have written the steps should be written down, and I can repeat them again. But so we designed this, y'all, like it is a game. So we really want to think about what your thoughts and perspectives are around mentoring. So we're going to share with you a few prompts. This is the first prompt. So I hope y'all can see it. Yes. So it says mentors should give direct advice. Mentors should ask guiding questions. Okay. What do you think? All right. So around the room, there are 2 8 by what was that? 12, 14? What is that? Pieces of paper, like landscape. However whichever phrase resonates with you, please position yourself. So, do you feel that mentors should give direct advice, or do you feel that mentors should ask guiding questions?
They're distinct, but yet you do utilize some aspects of coaching into that. And I feel like that's also a part of what I would like to grow a little bit into. Like, well, maybe a little bit of this philosophy I had is a little bit more on that side, on the giving direct advice. I like the idea of acting as a coach a little bit more, listening and then maybe trying to get the students to figure out themselves a little bit that direction where they need to go.
Okay.
Where it's necessary in some cases to give direct advice. I think that's also really true.
So I'm positioning myself based on what I do, as opposed to necessarily what I think should happen. So
why are you there?
why am I here?
Are you
In the position that you're in.
I'm here because I was asked to, no. So I come at this as an advisor, primarily as an advisor role. So I don't direct students in research. Instead, I spend a large amount of my time helping them prepare for and apply to health professional programs. And they come with specific questions. What classes should I take? How do I get this experience? How do I do those things? So I spend, I would say, a good 2/3 of my time at least giving direct advice. But there are also students who are like, I don't know what I want to do. What should I do? And I'm not going to tell them what they should spend the rest of their life doing. So that's when I listen and try to do guiding directions, but it's less frequently.
Anybody else want to share?
Well, I think I'm the most junior person here, and right now I only work with undergraduates directly on research projects, and they really just started on these topics, so I feel like it's mostly direct advice on this research. That's why.
Hannah, what do you think? I normally wouldn't do that,
So
but
it's interesting. So I went to a conference in June, and Brene Brown spoke. So I'm a librarian. I went to the American Library Association conference. Brene Brown was kind of one of the keynotes. And she talks about how we all need coaches. Like all of us. And she gave the analogy of, you don't send someone out into the field and be like, perform.
Do it.
And then don't give any. So then it's like, you're right. So I actually went and tried to find a coach, and I found one.
You did find
I found one. And so I was, it's a person, he's a former dean of a library, but he's on the West Coast now, and he's getting certified. Sorry, I'm going into storytelling mode. Sorry.
No, I love it.
So he's getting certified to be a professional management coach, and so he needed hours.
Oh,
and
nice.
he was like, can I do this pro bono? And I was like,
yeah.
and so I think it's because of the background. So he basically went through this is different from mentoring. This is coaching. And with coaching, it's exactly how it sounds like. So I ran cross country track. I was a runner in high school. And when he said it like that, the athletic analogy really clicked for me, because with an athlete, you draw on their own ability, right? So the coach just helps you refine what you already have internally. And so basically in the coaching sessions, that's what he does. He only asks you questions. He does not give any advice.
Is it annoying?
It's a little bit annoying, but that's what a coach does,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And he very specifically said, I am not a mentor, I am a coach. So that's why, because of all that, that's why I'm like, it's more here.
Yeah.
So does he talk about, I love that definition of coaching, does he talk about distinguish the difference between coaching and mentoring at all? or have
He
you-
does. So we had like an intake. So like it was like an
Yeah.
hour long, and he had to like clearly, and we had like a little contract because he has to get his certification hours, whatever. And so mentoring is more of like a directed, like, you know, like someone with experience who's helping out someone who doesn't have as much experience, kind of helping them along, shaping them, going, being like, basically being like, you should go to this conference, you should meet these people.
Yeah.
This is what you need to do to expand your portfolio. That's what a mentor does. But then with a coach, it's again about like, you draw on your own inner reserves of like whatever, your own abilities basically. And like, he asks very pointed questions. So I come to him with like questions or issues, and then he asks me very pointed questions. And then I come up with my own solution, essentially.
So it's interesting because what you just said is you come with your own questions too,
Yes.
right? And so the students that we're mentoring,
Yes.
they sometimes come with their own questions, but a lot of times they come with like, help, or
Didn't work,
or
I
it
don't know
didn't
what to
work, I
do.
don't know what to do, right? So I feel like there's like a maturity to a coachee or a mentee that's gonna set where you are. And I'm sure you move along the spectrum for individuals, right?
Yeah, I
Right.
think, as you said, like he works with younger kids
Right.
potentially, like I think as the level of maturity grows, that those guiding questions are really important because
Yeah.
we do have, they're not blank slates, right? Our students are not zero, and we should leverage that a little bit more. So that's why after reading that idea that we should be a little bit more coachy while we mentor, I like that idea. And
Yes,
I want to do more of that.
And even like, because I meet with students all the time, like research appointments all the time. And like, again, it's, you know, it depends at the moment, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
I was also thinking of mentoring faculty with this too.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
You know,
sure.
it sort of depends on what the needs are.
But, and so I'm going to insert part of the, I'm jumping ahead a little bit here, but part of the reason I wanted to sort of do a book club around this is
Wait, no.
Oh, no.
Wait,
Okay, I'll
okay,
jump.
hold on.
Well, it has to do with advance and faculty, but I'll get there.
Yeah. Well,
Okay.
please
Yes,
hold it.
I will hold it, I will hold it.
Okay.
New one?
Thank you all. New one, y'all. The second one. Mentoring is structured and goal-oriented. Mentoring is organic and open-ended. So I'm going to ask you to choose one, whichever one closely relates. So I appreciate you all being in the middle, but choose one. Mentoring
You want us to be polar.
is organic and open-ended is
I went the wrong direction.
I think, yeah, choose one. Mentoring is structured and goal-oriented.
Yeah.
Mentoring is organic and open-ended.
You want us to get to the go.
Choose one. One of
We
the two
can't
options.
we can't be on a
Okay, choose
spectrum.
one.
Not anymore.
Just for the,
I-
just for the, which one resonates more with you?
Oh, this is good.
I promise you still get an A. Still
Yay!
get the
That's all
gold
that
star.
matters. So this also is jumping ahead a little bit, but my personal kind of mentoring philosophy is follow the student. So I don't know what the student, again, coming at this from an advisor perspective, I don't know what the student wants when they walk in. And I follow what the student needs. So it's open-ended, I ask questions, figure out what they want, and it's organic. I let them mostly guide, tell me what you need from me today and how I can help and that kind of thing. Are you
I'm
moving?
gonna walk over and join you.
Oh, right, so good. Team organic.
I'm on the wrong side. I thought I was on the organic open-ended.
Oh, okay.
Oh my gosh, you're right. I'm on the wrong side.
Oh!
Sorry.
Pull you on over.
Sorry.
Oh,
Interesting.
Okay,
Interesting.
So what I was expecting is that you were gonna
Anybody
say
else
that
want to
the
say
instruction
anything from
for, like,
over here?
Pre-med application.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I was
So,
going
I mean,
Oh,
there
yeah.
definitely is a place for that, for structured and goal-oriented, depending on what the student wants, but I follow whatever it is that they need from me.
Yeah.
So why are you guys here?
Because you were convincing.
Yes.
But I want to hear what they have to say too. Okay.
I was on the wrong. I was based off. I didn't look at the
okay.
signs, and I was going off of.
Okay. And I can't, unfortunately, I can't see that part to tell you.
Oh, yeah.
Goal
So why, okay, anybody else from this side, the organic side, why did you choose this side?
I mean, to me, I agree with Lynn, right? Like the core is responsiveness. Sometimes the response has to be structured and goal-oriented, depending on what people need. But I think it's also important for people who are seeking mentoring to be able to articulate what they need. I think that's, for me, that's a part of the mentoring, right? That there's a reflective element to it.
Anybody else?
For me, what this does is, I don't go in with like assumptions about what I think the student, I mean, I think you can do structured and goal-oriented, and the mentee can be driving that structure and goals, right? But for me, this like reminds me that it's I have to keep reminding myself of asking questions, and that change is part of this. Sure, yeah, that sounds like an answer. Excellent. But it's hard to choose, because I think you give things up. But like you said, you can structure the response to.
And in reality, we'd all be in the middle.
Yeah, yeah.
But
Hannah, you have anything to add?
Like, it's like very similar responses, right? Like you just, it's about centering the person that's the mentee, and so.
Now, students who are already capstone projects with me in a field that they're not necessarily that familiar with, so they need more guidance, and the goal is basically the one that I'm giving them, which makes sense in this context. So really the goal is to advance like the research in this particular topic, so that's why right now that's the focus that I have.
Yeah, I like the response in terms of like where we are in the process of mentoring, right? So initially, of course, it's about talking to the student and figure out what the needs might be. But then after that, I was thinking maybe more from the response perspective. And then it's about getting a plan together and structuring and saying, okay, here's some goals that we have. So I guess there's a process for the mentoring interaction, as you said, and I think that for the initial part, of course, you come in and sort of an intake rather than here's what I'm going to tell you, here's what we're going to do because I know better than you. But then after we figure out where we need or where the challenge is, then we can begin to have a very structured process to get to a goal.
Right. Like I'll meet my students first, find out what they want to do, and then get a project that speaks to what they want. But then it's more guided once we figure that out during the semester.
So
Maybe that ends up the conversation results into another life choice that decides, you know what, I'm not interested on the path that's
okay.
put forward for me, kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I would go the complete opposite.
I would go
That's
this.
so funny.
Okay, last one.
Last year's.
Mentor-mentee relationships should last years. Mentee relationships can be short and situational. Okay. All right, last year's is gonna go over
That's
here.
not fair. Why do we have to
We
decide?
have to decide if
Yeah,
we're
you
in the
have to
middle.
decide, yeah.
No, I
Last
can't.
year's is over here.
yeah.
Choose one.
Okay.
Last year's.
Last year's over here.
I mean,
It can be short and situational. so-
Short and situational over here.
They shouldn't be, but they
Both
can
can
be.
be true.
Yeah.
These
I
are
think they have
not,
to be
these are
right.
not conflicting statements.
you're such a philosopher.
I know, you should have invited the philosopher. Yeah.
All right.
I drive Sherry crazy. What do you mean
By
by that?
Short and situational?
Yeah.
Short and situational.
They can.
They can be.
No,
don't have to be, but they can.
please, for the purposes.
For the
Yes,
grammar.
but choose
Exactly.
one, please. Like, okay, Hannah's over here then, okay.
Lauren's going. Lauren's moving.
Uh-oh.
All right, let's go. Okay, Hannah, you go first since you are last year's.
I'm going to the middle.
No,
Yeah.
this it. Choose one. You have to choose
I'm
one.
staying here.
And if I
I
have to
mean,
choose,
short
I'm going
is
over.
a relative term.
Mhm.
All right, Hannah, tell us. You,
So I've experienced both, and both have been very successful. And so I can't choose, but I can give you a story of so I was assigned a mentor through this this scholarship through my library association, and it was only supposed to be 1 year mentoring program. She's still my mentor. We started in 2010. She's still my mentor. I called her up like last month. She actually really helped me when I got my job here at AU. Like she helped me with the negotiation. Like I didn't even think about like all of that. And so anyway, but then I've also been in very short mentoring relationships. Like when I went up for promotion to associate, I was assigned a mentor for like 3 months, and like she like proofread my dossier, like gave me advice. That was so helpful. So they could be both. They don't have to be like contradictory, you know, like.
But you gotta choose one, so, okay, yes. I appreciate y'all.
For me, it's because of this, the role I'm in, I tend to think the semester frames mentoring. I mean, and maybe like a year or a year and a half is when I have like, when I have established like a really strong relationship with a student, and we can sort of work together for maybe a year on like a specific project. But it's like the framework of the university system and the semester that I think is the basis of my decisions, because it's sort of the lifetime of my mentor relationship. That's not to say I don't stay in touch with some of my mentees and cheerlead them on, but I don't think I'm a mentor after they leave.
Yeah,
All the time.
I congratulate them when they get into medical school, but I can't really help them in med school. Like, yeah, good job, awesome.
Yeah, same kind of situation. Most of the students I have for like a year or even just a summer, and I still think that can be very valuable for students, the kind of experience that they gain. So, but yeah, ideally it would last longer, but even short ones can be very helpful.
I have examples that go through the whole spectrum. And I have, particularly actually faculty mentoring, right? I have faculty that I've mentored who, you know, I wouldn't describe our relationship anymore as mentor and mentee in the way it clearly was when they were new and I was, you know, assigned as a formal mentor, but they all continue to like seek mentoring from me in unofficial ways. Even as I sometimes seek mentoring from them now. But then I've had volunteer mentoring experiences that were literally one meeting with one grad student who, you know, was structured through a professional organization at a conference where students could sign up for, I don't remember if it was like a lunch or, you know, a conversation to get an outside perspective, you know, on whatever questions they were struggling with in their grad program. And that's valuable too, right? To get that outside perspective with somebody that you don't necessarily need as a long-term mentor. And then students, you know, sometimes it's as Meg describes, and I just got an email about an hour ago from one of our former grad students who's in a PhD program now, who said, I'm not sure this program is for me. Would you be willing to have a conversation to give me some mentoring on that, right? So, friends again.
And what did you say?
Of course, yeah. I don't know if I can help him. We'll see. Try.
Santiago, you have anything to add?
Nothing else.
And, you know, maybe it should be, some of you talked about, well, I mentor students for a semester, but that could be a really impactful semester. And knowing you, like, students may never have a person like you. So, you know, I would encourage you to be reflective around that and, you know, what does it mean to mentor? Maybe it is all of this. Maybe it's none of this, right? But yeah, I could see it. So I was smiling but trying to keep it. But so, okay.
This is
so thank
already
you, everyone.
prompting so many realizations for me too.
Yeah.
What does it mean to
what
be a
Hannah
mentor?
was saying before, like I'm realizing that I had some really bad experiences as a mentee before, and that as a result, I definitely have sought mentoring, but like shied away from formal, structured mentoring because that was such a letdown in the early years of my career. But such a rich experience with folks who let it be more open-ended, and that has really shaped how I approach mentoring. Right? Like it's become so important for me because I did have so many bad experiences with it, and that made me realize that it was important, but important for other people, not as much for me, which is interesting. Thank you for setting this up to really prompt that kind of reflection.
And again, we were talking about, I think you might were just coming in, we were talking about that really having this space you know, just with us, it gives us an opportunity to, you know, of course, we wanted to share insights, but it's important too, we know this, to engage in our own professional development and give ourselves an opportunity to think, because our students are suffering, you know, they still need us. And so our ideas around mentoring do play out in the classroom, you know, and whether we think it's short-term or long-term or lasting, we don't know, you know, what the students think. You know, maybe they think it's both. So I appreciate y'all for leaning in here. You need more?
Nope, I'm good.
Okay. So we just kind of wanted to talk about, just share insights around, you know, why mentoring. And so this is the book.
This is the book. So I think I
You can
forget where I
download it,
discovered-
Hannah.
You
It's in
can,
the library.
Okay.
Yeah, we have a free access. Clarissa gave me a link. So I forget how I learned about this book. It might have been at HHM, no, or in the
possible.
email or some listserv I was on. But I was like, oh my gosh, this is, and it hit my inbox, I think, just before the summer. So I was like, oh, we have to. In my role, like, I'm always searching for ways for faculty to come together and talk about and be humans together, right? And we've tried different things like having tea together, and sometimes that works and sometimes it doesn't. But I figured over the summer, what a great way to like engage everyone in work that, you know, we get to talk about things, it's guided, and what faculty member doesn't love a good book, right? So I figured like it was just an easy thing to sort of engage people on and get them to meet. So the book is 9 chapters, so we basically met 3 times over the summer, sort of once a month.
Who met? So who were the faculty that
Oh, so what I actually did was I decided to invite STEM faculty. And then I think because Advance, the NSF grant we had, was sort of honing in on mentoring, I don't know if it went out to the tenured cohort,
It
but
didn't.
It didn't. Oh, that is sad.
Because I would
So,
have wanted to join.
yeah, I know. But
So it was only the advanced, like
it was so we invited the advanced term cohort, and some of those folks showed up. I think that was just because the communication wasn't. That was our fault. Sorry about that. And then STEM folks, and so it turned out to be mostly STEM folks.
Okay.
And I think that was intentional, but I also think that it was good because we, as STEM people, we have similar mentoring experiences in terms of like what our students are doing, like the projects they're doing, how they're related to our own work, right? You know, it's not like, and the summer is a really special time because that's when students are on campus. You know, everyone talks about people leaving campus. For the STEM fields, it's like, that's our secret time where everyone's on campus, there's no classes, there's a lot of FaceTime, there's a lot of work that's being done. And so it just, and it can be stressful for faculty, right? So the idea was to give them, you know, a place to talk about mentoring and be really intentional. So this woman is a vice provost, an assistant vice provost at Duke, and she is a professional coach. She's a certified coach. So she has like a whole chapter on this distinction between mentoring and coaching. So we basically broke it up 3 chapters at a time, and we would come and talk. We'd have coffee first, and then we'd talk. And I think we did a pretty good job of talking about the book, which I was not concerned about, but wanted to make sure we actually did cover the book. And the book defines mentoring, it defines the distinction between mentoring and coaching. It talks about mentoring with too much backbone or too much heart, you know, like it talks about the power dynamics. There's chapters on mentoring outside of your professional field, mentoring as a human being. So it kind of covered a lot of the things that I think we needed as faculty to sort of be intentional and thoughtful about mentoring.
I really like that it was also written from the mentee's perspective. So
Yes,
there's always a
yeah,
section
that's
about,
really true.
so this is also for mentees. So if you're being mentored, here's something you can read about. Why do they do this? Or so every single chapter had that whole section. Why would we talk about it this way with a heart? What does it mean for you as a mentee? And I thought that was powerful too. So useful in the context of if we wanted to use this and share with our students or
Right.
or you know, as we work with colleagues.
Right. Right.
I have a question regarding that. So I've heard people, mentors of mine, 2 of them have said, mentees they think they choose the mentor. No, I always choose my mentees. So, does that resonate with y'all? So they're basically saying, people have asked me to be their mentor, and I don't always do it. I choose my mentees. That's part of their mentoring philosophy. Did you, in reading this book, did you think about, okay, I mentor everyone, or I choose the people I'm going to mentor? I'm just wondering, did that book talk about that at all? And did you think about that?
There is permission in the book to not be, and I think the author talks about this a lot. You can't be everything to everybody. And the more you try to do that, the unhappier you're going to be, and maybe the less effective you're going to be at mentoring. So I think, but that's sort of a feeling that rolls out throughout the book, like to really think about what because she starts with sort of really thinking about your own identity, right? And really getting real.
Powerful,
yeah, which I think was really powerful for Santiago, yeah. And really being honest and reflective with yourself about where you are on some of these spectrums, right?
What's your philosophy?
What's your
Yeah.
Why are
philosophy?
you doing it?
Yeah.
Right.
But I think
What
that's
you're
the
willing to
part, that
discuss.
mentee, choosing your mentors is part of people's mentoring philosophy.
Yeah,
Yeah, go
I
ahead.
would kind of push back a little bit because you're just limiting, or the person who said that is just limiting, right? They're not actually selecting in a positive sense. They're not saying, of all these people, I would like you to come and be my mentee, right? People come, at least for me, they come, I can't say no, but for some of us, if we can say no, they come to us, so they have already selected us, and then we can reciprocally choose to accept their acceptance or not. Or
So that's not
accept their choice.
that's not part of your mentoring. That would
Well,
not be part of your mentoring
I'm
philosophy.
not allowed to.
Right, so that, the
I
philosopher
think
in
it
me.
pushes us
I
though
want
to
a
think about our
definition.
mentoring philosophy.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So my first question is, what do you mean by mentoring?
Yeah.
Right, so,
Yes.
I was hoping she would give a nice,
There
easy
is
definition,
one,
but
There-
I'm trying
it
to
looks,
find it.
it looks
Yeah.
like it's kind of like
It's supposed to be
a
treasured up.
discussion rather than a.
No,
Well,
she does,
she
there's a
does.
good academic
She-
one in chapter 1, right? Like in,
Yeah.
There's like some.
And I had it
with
bookmarked
you
and I
also,
said-
It's
So
about
someone mentoring
supporting
is
their professional
assigned,
goals. Yeah.
Right, like I can't choose, I can't restrict.
Mhm.
If students are in a cohort that's assigned to me, I have to offer them all mentoring. But when I think about the longer term relationships, those are definitely ones that I
That you've chosen.
choose, right? Like I have a student right now, former grad student, who has been pressing me for mentoring, and I'm giving her mentoring, but it's not the mentoring she wants. She wants my endorsement to apply for PhD programs, and it's not a good option for her. And I've like spent so much time in conversation with her. I've, sent her a ton of information on career alternatives. And I'm having to like set really hard boundaries saying, I'm not gonna give you what you want. And she's not somebody that I anticipate having a long-term mentoring relationship. Not because I dislike her in any way, but she's not open to the mentoring that I'm prepared to give and the mentoring that she needs. So maybe that's part of it too, right? Not just, oh, like that person interests me or, is deserving of mentoring, but also that mentees have to be open to it.
It makes me think about Hannah, when Hannah was talking about coach. I have seen mentoring definitions that include being a coach as part of being a mentor. They include both,
yeah, and I think that's part of what she's suggesting as well, like that we should consider sometimes being a little more coachy
Yeah.
in certain circumstances, and I think that's important. I would like to incorporate more of that in my mentoring.
And similarly, I think she includes being an advisor to a certain extent.
Yeah.
So an advisor's might take this class, do that, right? And a coach is more, what questions do you have? I will listen and ask you guiding questions that you then answer. I feel like her definition of mentorship is broad enough to include both at times.
So what does she say mentoring is? I'm not curious
So
about the
I
definition.
wrote,
Yeah, sorry.
yeah, so I have written down the goal of mentoring is to facilitate the learning and development of the mentee.
Yeah, it's right here. So at its best, mentoring relationship facilitates the learning and growth of one or more parties involved. It's characterized by mutual respect, collegiality, and trust. Mentors empower mentees to take an active role in directing their own learning and growth, again, the guided piece, culminating in the achievement of goals that are aligned with the mentee's values and aspirations. We kind of talked a little bit about that, listening to the mentee.
But one thing that came up, like I think this was our very first discussion, was this idea of transactional mentoring versus transformational mentoring.
What does that mean?
And what that means for like my heart and like the mentor's time, right? And I think, remember that conversation? And so, and accepting that there are transactional mentorship experiences, and that's okay.
Would that fall more under what Lynn described as advising?
To a
More
certain
advisory
extent,
type, yeah.
potentially it could also be student research, though, I would imagine.
Yeah.
So
Right.
The students in STEM are doing the research for the faculty to get tenure, essentially, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's certainly a transactional piece here. I will teach you how to do this skill, and you will create the data that I can publish to get tenure.
Yeah. And I wonder then from there, not all the time does that relationship grow into a little bit deeper. Like in my case, it's been situations where that's the extent of it, right? Like if there's transaction, I support you, we're doing some work over here, and we're doing this in an organized fashion. But then some students take up onto the mentoring piece, and that it goes back to the question, do I mentor everybody? Like, should I front load with some of those initial conversations, trying to be a mentor in the first place? Or do I let it kind of organically, and so I think in my experience, organically it's fallen into place without me being too intentional. And now that I'm starting to do mentoring philosophy with my students as well as mentoring compact contracts, where we have a compact between us, it's starting to be more front-loaded. Like I'm trying to be like, I see myself as your mentor. Like just because we enter
Were
in
you
this
doing that
community,
before
know.
you read this, the
No.
mentoring philosophy
Well,
and the mentoring
I
contracts?
I had learned about that before,
But
this
were you
sort of
doing
pushed me
it?
over the
Okay.
edge. This pushed me over the edge.
Over
to
the
say,
cliff.
Yeah, I have to. I have to think about doing that because it also felt like maybe my students didn't even know what my
Intentions
coming
were.
from. Yeah, like what was the story? What was I coming from, and what were my expectations? Or like all these things were not quite outspoken. It was sort of always falling into place, and I think that resulted in inefficient mentoring, or almost like,
I love
or like
that.
it felt weird after a while. Like,
Did you say contract or compact?
They call it a mentor-mentee compact, which is not a is intentionally trying to be outside of a contract, so there's not like
It's
we
not
sign anything, stuff, but we do
contractual or
sign it.
something. So what do you ask students to think about or commit to?
Yeah, so in that there's like some resources that I've used to create this one, but there's like guiding questions that then the mentor and mentee sort of go through in terms of like, what are the expectations? How do we communicate? What are the things that you think I'm expected to do for you, and what are the things that I'm expected to do on the other side? So that's like really well laid out at the end of that conversation, and then all of those things are written. It's like, what is the mentee expected, and what is the mentor expected to do? So I'm committing to being there for you and guiding you in terms of understanding the structures of how your master's program works, for instance, and guiding you in terms of the timeline for when you should apply to certain things. I'm committing to being there once a week to meet with you at least for an hour to talk about these things. So all of those almost details of like what are the things that we should be expecting of each other in this relationship.
How many students are you entering into those compacts with?
Unfortunately, too many in the center. So that
I
led
was
to a
going to say an
problem.
hour a week with
How
every.
many?
Yeah, and I would
mentee?
do that regularly last semester and the term before, but it's a lot. And that's another problem with the idea that by front loading and by committing seriously to mentoring, all of a sudden I'm committing to a big commitment. So this semester where I've pulled back significantly, I have only 2 students in my lab. I'm realizing how much time investment to do it well, I need to do it in the proper way. So if I want to be the type of mentor that I think I could become or want to become, I need to pull back. I need to be more present and more time. And then that goes back to, in the context of us, what's actually rewarded in terms of like the mentoring? How is that recognized? Because it takes a lot of time to do it well, to be committed to a person in that way. Or maybe we don't mentor everybody, I don't know, and I feel weird about that.
And that's why I was saying, I think that these people who are seniors in the field have gotten to that where they're like, I choose my mentors. I mean, I in having the grant that was recently terminated, I found a new perspective on, I considered something new that around mentoring is that maybe people don't you always think, oh, people don't believe in mentoring. No, I consider that people understand mentoring and they know its benefits, but sometimes it could be a thankless job, right? So I was thinking like, because I personally, I think the fact that I'm a mother, I'm Southern, all these things interest. So I'm like kind of touchy-feely, so that's what you get, but it can be very thankless. And at the end, it's like, okay, then how do I feel about it? Is it personal? Is it not, it's like I've given this, I expect this, but that doesn't always happen, right? So it's just reevaluating. So I'm thinking through that too. It's not that people don't know that mentoring can be beneficial, but that sometimes maybe they've seen it's a thankless job. But then I also said, you know what? But it is for the good. I'm doing it for the overall good, right? Because I know that it is for the overall good, despite the fact that I may mentor someone and it may be thankless. Kind of like being a parent sometimes.
Are there examples of complex, like mentoring complex?
It is I got it from this association, and it's a little bit more STEMmy focused, and I can share that with the community so you can see it. And that's what I adapted it to create mine.
Yeah.
And there's a set of guiding questions and then examples of what those complex would look like. It's really nice.
I don't think he has any in the book, though.
No, there was, but it
there's
linked to resources
it did,
in the back
okay.
of the book.
Yeah, and you can,
That could be so powerful to include
Yeah.
in our first year curriculum, right? I mean, there's so much talk around recruitment and retention that what do
that's a really interesting lens.
what do universities? I don't remember whose book. Somebody was on a book tour who had written a book on like student retention, who I heard an interview with over the summer, who said that like that is a hallmark of universities that are doing retention well, is creating pathways for students to find mentors in their first year.
Yeah, that's.
I think that was included in the core as it was rewritten, or an attempt to. For instance, the first year advisors were supposed to provide, because they only had a student load of 60 students or so. And then also the complex problems with a faculty member with a small,
So the intention was there, but maybe it wasn't
was
as
a vague
articulated.
idea.
It was a big idea.
It
I
wasn't
wouldn't say
articulated in a
specifically,
mentoring role.
Yeah, intentional. But,
I like that.
yeah.
I do too.
But guidance on actually, something like a model
Yeah.
Yeah.
for how to have those conversations would be so powerful.
Yeah. I've had students try to come to me with, so it's really interesting, right? Because so I'm the education librarian, and so I don't, these are not my students for the whole semester. I don't grade them. But then I'm still come in as guest lecturers, and I teach them research and information literacy. During the pandemic, it was ridiculous. I think I had like 200 students. And they just all wanted to talk to me, like, talk to me about my research, but then also, or even today, like I taught a class on research, and then afterwards, like the student, she was a freshman, she was just talking to me because I had taught in Chicago public schools as a high school teacher. So she was like, oh, I'm from Chicago, I went to Whitney Young. And
Resonated.
so then she was just talking to me. She's like, yo, I'm really struggling in DC. It's not quite what I thought. So I was just trying to talk to her and then encourage her. And she was like, I was out there, like my aunt is like the whatever of Chicago. I was like, whatever. And so I was like, you're where you're supposed to be, right? You want to make change? DC's a great place to make change, right? So I was trying to encourage her and like, but I feel like students are seeking that mentoring. They're like
a
so
deeper
hungry.
connection.
Yeah.
And they don't know how to do it.
And in
don't-
different places, how you said, I don't mentor them, but sometimes
They just come to me. Like someone came and was like, "Can you be my like faculty like mentor for this independent study?" And I was like, "Well, I'm not in the School of Ed, but yes."
But I can see that, but because it's probably how you're thinking about coaching, and it resonates, and so I can see you just it being
I
powerful.
mean, I have been asked. So then I was leading the Asian American Affinity Group for educators, even though again I'm not in School of Ed, but so like if they ask me, like I want to help these like teachers to be, I want to help these students, so then I do it, right? It's not part of my. I mean, I just do it because I want to help them. Yeah.
But you make me think, so, and I was reading something that what is part of your responsibility? And we talk about this all the time, like Megan, Lauren, and I, we're writing something around what is our responsibility? two
I've been
students.
thinking about that so much lately.
What is our
But-
responsibility? Because sometimes we're like, it's not our responsibility. Is it our responsibility?
Mhm.
What is our responsibility?
So I love these, but that's a huge amount of work.
Mhm.
So how many faculty are there? 450?
Like 950
Oh,
across
way
the whole
more.
university.
Yeah,
Okay.
Like
Over
around
1,000.
Yeah, I think
If
it's
we,
around.
if we include full and part-time.
Okay.
Oh, if you include
I think
part-time,
there's-
there's
there's-
about 990
There's,
full-time.
there's
so-
more than 450 just in CAS.
Yeah.
Okay.
If we include
So if we just did the
part-time.
first years, because that's when it's most critical, maybe the sophomores.
That's a one-on-one, yeah.
Yeah, it's almost a one-on-one. There's 1,600 first-year students. So you have 1 or 2 students to mentor from each class.
So when we had the previous iteration of the honors program, the honors program, if I remember, was huge, right? It was like, I don't know, 1,500 students or something were in honors. And the honors cohorts had something like that. So they would ask faculty to, I don't remember how they structured it, but it was, I think it was for credit, maybe like a 1 credit thing, where you would kind of establish a mentoring relationship with these new first-year students coming in. So
But
maybe something like that.
But the challenge is, Lynn and I have tried to do some group mentoring, like peer mentoring with our first-year students. I would say about half of the first-year students who say they're really interested show up. But it's interesting that the sophomores really are like, why would you never do this? This is amazing. So there's fear in that first year of like they want these connections, but like I guess it's like you said, they don't know how to build authentic.
So it would have to be the
Connections.
faculty member reaching out to them.
Yes.
Hey,
Yes.
we've been assigned
Well,
as a mentoring guide.
Right, but that's why I thought about that honors example, because it was required.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure that it was for credit. I have to look back at my teaching load. But the thing that was interesting about it is that, this is like way predates the first year instructor advisor model. But it was students from all different majors.
So you're not with someone necessarily who's in your discipline.
And I did, things have changed a lot, over the past couple of decades. But there was no pushback from students saying, oh, why do I have to do this? This isn't in my major, right? This has nothing, which was what we see with core. There's so much resistance, right? So much, and not questioning, right? Resistance to things they don't understand, right? So there's, that's something that I'd like to see cultivated, right? As students are hungering for mentorship, even if they don't call it that, trying to elicit questioning, elicit inquiry on the part of students as to why mentoring is important.
I think
And
it's the
what's involved.
socialization.
Right.
So we were talking about when do you, so like this, y'all are leading, just mentoring occurrences, all this, when do you mentor? Hannah was like, well, I get it, like students ask me to mentor them when I guest lecture. You were talking about your lab in the summer. So just thinking about, and I know some of this is really, it's not novel in any way, but I think it is important to think about when are those occurrences when we mentor. Because as a STEM person, and we could talk specifically about STEM, we know that, we all know that it's important. We know that, so I know a person who mentored, he had a program for 15 years, and in this program, 90 people became PhDs in 15 years. Now, all these people were Black people, but when you think about 2% of all PhD scientists are Black, 90 people in 15 years is significant,
That's
right?
huge.
So I'm saying that to you to say, when you're mentoring people, guest lecturing, when you're mentoring people in the lab, this can be really significant. That's the important thing, about that, and your mentoring philosophy. Do you mentor everybody and kill yourself? What do we do? And I'm just being facetious here, poor choice of words, but I'm, just.
I find the philosophy to be difficult too, because
Yeah.
I feel like it opens me up a lot. Like, I guess the way that I have written it, is like very personal, like here's why I care, why I give a damn about doing this stuff. And it sort of front loads that in a space that, in a relationship that potentially is not quite developed yet.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to figure out where the right time to do that.
Yeah.
Where I thought it was like a front loading is the best way to do that, but by putting that out there, it sort of created sort of and maybe that's the way I want to go forward, like that's okay, but I think for some students, it didn't necessarily quite, maybe it was just didn't resonate or it wasn't right, and maybe that's good. Maybe that allows for the good matching to happen.
Yeah.
So
But
when you say upfront, like you're saying you told them that, like when they first come into
Oh,
your
I
class,
share,
you
yeah,
talk
share
about
it with them, yeah, like here's my mentoring philosophy, in addition, then we talk about mentor-mentee compact, but that really is like a wide open, like,
I can see
What
that.
kind of classes are you having those conversations in?
this is
this
just for my research students.
Just,
yeah.
so just upper level?
Not necessarily, I work with first year students for research sometimes, so anybody between first and master students, yeah.
So how are our students formally connected with you as a research super?
That's a great question. Yeah, they
How does
seek
that work
out
in STEM?
they seek out opportunities. Or in the last summer, I had a open application so students could apply into a research program.
So this was outside of your assigned teaching,
Correct. Yeah.
but specific to your lab?
Exactly.
Got it, okay. Okay.
So anyway, I just thought the philosophy piece is a little tricky.
I didn't really have a philosophy until we sat down an hour before the meeting. Like, yeah, I follow students' lead, and that's not really a good philosophy. So
No, and I'm working on
it's
it.
really tough to write.
It's tough to
I
write.
found.
I wonder if there are, so we've had these conversations about creating a culture of mentoring at AU. Because I think that is something we already do. You know, everyone talks about our superpowers, our connections, our faculty and staff make with students. How do you highlight that? How do you raise that up? How do you reward the work that is already being done in all these
And
little,
even just
in all these
acknowledge it.
ways? Acknowledge it, right? And make that like the thing that is an anchor. And I don't know, but like, before,
Not just an
I don't know
anchor.
how you, like, what are the ways you execute that? Because one of the ways I thought you would execute that is everyone like has a published mentoring philosophy, but maybe that is a little naive for me to think about that. But that's why I also like this idea of like anchoring a first year experience around mentoring, and I don't know.
I think it also
I think
has to be
there's something- there's some-
explicitly tied to university priorities.
Yes.
Right, like that's how you
Otherwise-
elevate it.
Yeah.
It's not
Yeah.
gonna-
It
Right,
has to be.
we.
So it's not just a checklist.
Right.
Providing
Right.
credit of some type, recognition at least for mentoring would be a nice start.
Because
Because
how do they do it in the
you know,
UK, right? I'm trying to remember.
Really?
They call them tutors or something, like students are
Oh,
paired with faculty.
Mhm.
I forget what it's called. This
Okay.
is-
Tutors, yeah.
Yeah,
Tutorials.
like there are different models of this in like other countries. Yeah.
And those are tied to explicitly to coursework in the UK. So you've got your lecture course, and then you've got these small group tutorials
Nice.
where ideally the tutor becomes a mentor.
Yeah, and they're like faculty. Yeah.
That's an interesting connection.
Well, if we're going to the 3-year model.
We're not going to the theater.
That's a whole connect. I think that's the whole piece about retention. Like,
Yeah.
if we're not connecting at a deeper level with the students, they're leaving, right? If this is
Yeah.
transactional,
Yeah.
they can get transactional anyway.
Yeah.
If we think broader than that in terms of the mentoring, then it starts becoming meaningful. And it's okay for them to seek us for a tiny little piece of their mentoring portfolio. And that's what this book also talks about, right? Like
Yeah.
mentoring, we have to be okay with, we're not the one-all person. Like,
Right.
We're not
there's
the
a-
only one.
There's a fan, and the beauty of that is that we forget where is the novice expert paradigm, right? Like, we forget how much we know and how little they know, these first-year students, for instance, in terms of like the network that exists for them. And they are literally clueless, right? And for us to say, you should go talk to this person, that's a massive incentive for them to like connect. And all of a sudden, that connection might be the thing that keeps them here.
and facilitate it. If I just tell a student, hey, you should go do this,
Yeah.
there's that fear component, right?
But if you take them.
But if I take them and say, hey, let me introduce you to Dr. Yeah, he does this cool research, I'm gonna let him tell you.
And socialize them to like how you do things,
Yeah, in
right?
this space.
Right.
They don't know
Like-
that. Some of the kids have the cultural capital to do that, right?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah,
of
but a
privilege.
lot don't.
Yeah.
A lot of them don't.
Yeah.
And those are the kids that are feeling left out of the process.
And STEM can be very much a discipline where you need that cultural, social capital
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
be successful.
Academia in general.
Yeah. So I think we should do another book club. I feel like we should,
Go back again.
Well, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
feel
don't
like
you think
we
it's
need
kind
to
of like
continue
an
it.
evergreen?
We don't have to, because there's so
COVID,
much.
like, do another book club with this book?
I
or-
like
Yeah,
this one.
yeah.
Oh, this
I mean, I
one.
think every time I read, like, when we started reading the book, I thought, this is gonna be great because it's a relatively easy read, and I'm gonna know where to go when I need help, like, in a moment, right? I feel like there's some really good tangible stuff here.
I mean, this would be an amazing way to transform the core curriculum without changing the curriculum.
It's to infuse this kind of work into the coursework.
Actually support
Yeah.
faculty development
Yes.
in these skills.
I mean, I'm just so glad we all came, because I think about how students have different, like Hannah is the librarian, Lynn, you have pre-med students, you're all faculty, like how great would it be if everyone was on the same page in terms of mentoring?
Right.
So
And
that
we
when
had
Lynn sent
conversations
someone to
about
Hannah,
mentoring.
and they're like, oh, because people, how many times have we introduced students to folks, and sometimes it's like,
Yeah.
I thought
Like, no, you need to
Professor
go.
Bentley was cool, but she sent me this person, it didn't
Fell
work.
flat, yeah.
You know, yeah, it fell flat, and then you're like, you don't come back and say, well, that didn't, you know, I mean, it's just all of that, so just, if we were all as faculty on the same page with it.
And I think we shouldn't, I mean, the M word is a beautiful word. M.
And I
Like,
am.
I think we should own that part of our identity of AU. Like, AU, we've always talked about this. AU has always struggled with sort of defining its identity. I think mentoring is a strength. I think, right? I think so.
I think it needs to be a strength in this time with students and faculty dealing with, all of us dealing with a lot.
And I think we're in a
students.
position to make it be a strength. I think that feels like,
I think just
Not-
just grappling with, how do I feel about mentoring? All of you stood in the middle. No one could choose this or this. So what does that mean? Or sometimes you're over here, or sometimes you're over there. Maybe when you're over there, students might need you to be over here. So it,
And what if we could replace the word networking with mentoring? Right, I mean, to your students, the Chicago students comment about DC, I don't know if this is for me, right? So many of our students get here and they're just overwhelmed with the pressure. And so much of that pressure is networking.
Yeah.
They don't know how to do that without mentoring.
And networking to me sounds, to me at least, maybe a trigger word, transactional. Like networking to me, is like I need to like be
Right.
Yeah.
with the right people. Whereas mentoring is like,
it's,
looking for
there's
my,
care in there.
where's my
There's a
group?
relationship.
Somebody that cares, yeah, that's gonna help me.
Yeah.
And we all have mentors too, like also recognizing that we're not done with our careers, right? Maybe some people are getting to that point that they're like, oh, Tim, and there's no mentoring there, but maybe the most of us, we're part of a mentoring relationship.
we
somewhere.
are.
And I value that, and we should also give back.
And then mentoring across, like, when you were talking about, so I've been really thinking about place, and you were talking about like being from Chicago, like that does impact, place does impact students. We don't talk about it a lot, but place does impact. I mean, I know you could be a dog from Atlanta, and I would be so happy. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, if you're here, I'm like, oh my gosh, you know, just because. And so I imagine students are the same. When you're so far away from home, you're like anyone from home, you know. So, yeah. So it is 2. After 2, thank y'all. Thank you.
Hey.
Yeah.
So good. We have to,
I'm all
just
about.
let's keep it going.
Nice campus with a nice small section.
It does, yeah.
We're going to continue
Yeah.
to talk about mentoring and to try to see like how we can connect faculty and have some real meaningful conversations. I'm going to let the panelists, y'all, and maybe,
Could we relaunch the book club again and like include other people? Because I think there's value.
And just like expand it out. to
Expand
like-
it
Yeah,
out,
absolutely.
Yeah.
absolutely,
Yeah.
we could.
Do you think it's something that we can do during the year?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it
Three
captures a
times
different
again.
audience, yeah. Yeah,
If we do it in thirds again.
yeah, I think that, yeah.
Mhm.
Okay.
Okay.